read the sign that says digital recording in progress. It's also being recorded visually.
Could you speak up?
The meeting will come to order. For those of you who did not hear it being digitally recorded. Also, if you just realize that, because of what was just done, it's hard to hear in here. So that means it would be requested of each of you to remember that. No private conversations between each other, because it becomes too much noise for people to be able to hear. All right. First order of business is a public hearing, and I will read the two notices of the public hearing. Let's make sure you got the right one first. Okay. Take notice of the public hearing in the Village of Chatham, New York. Will hold a public hearing in the application Z Cohen for a site plan review and a single-use permit at 116 Hudson Avenue, Chatham, New York, 12037. Tax map number 66.13-2-43. The applicant seeks to add a 40 by 68 foot accessory structure to move outdoor storage items inside the structure. Such hearing will be held on Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. at Tracy Memorial Hall, 757 Main Street, Chatham, New York. All persons shall be given an opportunity to speak or submit written comments at such hearing. Please contact the village clerk at 518-392-5821, or I'm going to skip over the email address for more information. And secondly, take notice that the Planning Board of the Village of Chatham, New York will be holding a public hearing on the application of New York State Electric and Gas for a special use permit on 18 Fairview Avenue, Chatham, New York, 12037, tax map number 66.5-2-20. The application seeks to expand the existing substation and to install a new fence. Such hearing will be held on Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. at Tracy Memorial Hall, 77 Main Street, Chatham, New York, 12037. All persons shall be given the opportunity to speak or submit written comments at such hearing. Please conduct or contact the village clerk at, and that's the same information for contacting the village clerk. At this point in time, I would like to make a statement as the chair. Individuals wishing to speak should have signed in. If you have not, there's a sheet going around to sign in. You should also sign in on the other, there's two sheets, the other sheet which says that you're here attending. Speakers will generally be called in the order that they sign in. However, I take the right to adjust the order by the testimony being deemed more beneficial per presiding earlier or later. The board asks that all be treated, all attendants and their opponents with respect, and that the public is expected to extend the same courtesy to the board and those who have different views. Comments must be restricted to the specific subject of the public hearing as advertised. All comments should be directed to the board chair, not to other audience members. Any specific requests or questions should be addressed to the chairperson. I'm going to stress that. All comments should be made to me, not to anyone else in the building. If you have a question, direct them to me. Each speaker will have 3 to 5 minutes, and I will be timing them. I will give you a warning when your time is running low to present their comments. Depending on the number of individuals speaking, I haven't seen the sheet yet, so I don't know exactly how many are going to be speaking. After all signed-in speakers have had their turn, the board will invite others who wish to speak to do so. They will also have a time limit. Information about a public hearing. A public hearing is an essential legislative step through certain actions of the boards. These hearings are conducted to gather input from the public and interested parties, as well as to gauge public opinion as part of the local lawmaking or decision-making process. For the planning board, it is a necessary step before decisions are made on applications or petitions brought before us. The public is encouraged to present their views, arguments, and ideas. either in support of or opposition to the issue at hand. Public comments are intended to provide the board with valuable information to help inform their decisions. When possible, presenters are encouraged to include supporting documentation and provide a written copy of their comments to the board's for referral. It is important to note that a public hearing is a distinct form of public information meeting. Attendees are expected to be familiar with the issue and its background before arriving. The hearing is not the time for lengthy explanations of the topic or a recap of the steps leading to this hearing. To ensure that all participants have an opportunity to speak, the board has set a time limit. Public hearings are intended to listen to people's input, not to engage in debate or dialogue, whether with the board or other members of the audience. This ensures that the meeting remains focused and provides equal opportunity for everyone to speak. While the presiding board is not obliged to share personal views or respond to questions during the hearing, they may choose to ask questions or request clarification to better understand the points being made. The primary purpose of this public hearing is to collect and consider public viewpoints before making our decision. One of the notifications and information that I would like to have is the first one that we'll be talking about tonight is the applicant for Z. Cohen's property, 116 Hudson Avenue, Chatham, New York. Tax map parcel number 13-43. Board members, do you have any comments that you wish to make?
No. The only comment I have is that when I was going through the, is there a representative here from Mr. Cohen?
Please, Mr. Conley.
The only comments I had when I went through the application was the fact that in a few locations, the application number was incorrectly shown on the forms. And all it simply means that you can take 2 seconds and you can put the correct number on there. It's 2024. It's okay on the building permit and the special use permit, but it was not on, let me just go through the ones that was not on. When you come to the, and we can do this right now. Do you have the paperwork there?
I don't have it right in front of me because
Okay, the application checklist.
Yes.
Okay, that. So on the application checklist, up on the right-hand corner, the application number should be put in here 2024.
2 0, there's a 0 missing.
Right.
So you change the 2 to 0 and then put 2 in front of it, we're fine.
just initial it.
And then just initial. Okay, that was the first one.
Sorry.
No problem. The second one was the drawing for the Ardell Vet expansion. That is the same identical thing. The application number needs to be corrected. And we have that here. It's this one here.
Oh, it's 0 missing on that.
It should be 2024. No, it's this one. That one there's going to be done too. But if you down here, put down the correct application number.
Did you initial?
I did, yes.
That one is the same way. And then the last one is the rain garden sheet, and that is the same thing. It just needs to have that. Oh, there. No. Well, if you don't have it, I'll give you a number.
This one.
Yeah, yes. Other than that, I had no other comments on what had been submitted. I just wanted to make sure that application numbers were accurate.
Any other questions from the board? We're in public hearing. I have a list of people who have signed in who wish to talk. I'm assuming, I'm making an assumption, I shouldn't. Is there anyone who's on that list that wishes to talk on this application?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is the Speed's application for the bakery. Yeah. Right.
If you wish to talk, we ask that you come up to the board.
I have to come up to the board?
Yeah.
Want some help? Good.
So I'm very concerned about another building going behind my house because I live basically behind the bakery.
Okay.
For our daily bread. And my concern is several. So I had requested that some trees that had literally been dead and fallen be dealt with, and that was refused. I had requested that a fence that was literally falling down and it became like balsa wood be replaced. And remember, well, you might not know, so there's a deck on the back of our daily bread. And by the way, I have a good relationship with Steve. But anyway, so there's a deck on the back. And when he was building that deck, he sent out the notices, and I received it, and I thought it was okay, but I sort of assumed that they were going to maintain the property. And as things are, there's both tree branches from the trees on their property that are dead, that are hanging over my property and have already endangered my yard and house. And they've been unlined, so they were spotted by my ex-husband and other people who are sighted, okay? And then again, a few years back, it was maybe about 3 years, so maybe a little longer because the trouble with technology. I had requested that a fence be fixed, and I was told there's nothing wrong with the fence. The fence was falling down, it was literally disintegrating, and I'm concerned that another building is going to be, another structure is going to be incorporated into the business, which I think is great that it's thriving, but I want to see them maintain what we have. So I'm not alone. There are other neighbors who also share that fence, and the fence is like the only thing that gives us any privacy from the now raised deck, which is much better than I realized it was going to be. So people sitting on the deck can look right into my kitchen. And the trees, limbs, there are dead limbs right now today, ready to fall. And I've already had a dead limb fall on my garage, which may or may not have been a tree owned by a tree. That's a little unfair to the property. But the other trees, there's a tree there that right now could be worth thousands of dollars. It's a black walnut tree. And it seems like that would be a win-win situation. Take down the black walnut tree and get your money for the veneer of black walnut and solve the problem of the dead branches that are on that are falling into my yard. So
Okay.
that's those are my concerns.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to, I own the house and my mother lives in next door to Arlene, so
And you are?
maintaining next door. We have the same thing, the fence is collapsing, falling apart, there are holes in it. We put in a metal pole to keep it from falling into her yard. We also have that same tree hanging over, so I don't have to go there again. I was more concerned about the use of the structure. I know it says it's being used for storage. Is it not to be used for anything else in the future? Will there be any type of machinery in there?
Do you want to assist you?
She's asking me questions.
Is that okay?
That doesn't mean you have to answer.
Yeah, I'm wondering, will there be any type of, in the future, mechanical equipment, fans, condensers, refrigeration, that type of stuff? I was also wondering about noise levels and lighting, and how it will affect the neighbors.
Anything else? So I'll ask you, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, sure. So the plans for this, a warehouse to store, there's a lot of things that are getting pushed outside because we're kind of beyond our envelope to store all the external things outside. There might be some equipment, forklifts in there, however, those are pieces of equipment that are currently being used outside on the sidewalk, so the noise levels will actually be considerably less because most of the operations that are happening outside will be housed inside. The lighting, I've already gone through the village and very intentionally planned non-invasive lighting that will be mounted about 8 feet going down, so there's not any light diffusion further into the backyard. And I didn't just speak about the trees and the branches. I'm happy to address that this week. I didn't hear about that, but that's something that I'm also a neighbor there, and I want it to look nice. So it's kind of in my interest to clean that up and clean the fence up as well. So I think those are the general concerns and actually some of my concerns as well. So that's
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I'm also a neighbor, and my concern is exactly what the woman said before, is that the upkeep is already not upkeep up there, not where the restaurant part is. I'm sure that's fine, I haven't been back there. But the part that we see, the fence goes, if you follow 66, I guess it's north and south. But our property butts east and west, and there is no fence there. So we have requested one once before, because when we're in our backyard, we can see right into where that existing truck is right now, which there are rodents, it's old, it's not kept up. And frequently when we come out in the morning, there are danishes and bagels and rolls and things on our porch from animals taken from wherever. I'm not sure where the garbage is kept, but they're getting it from there and bringing it out onto our property, which has been an issue. So I just want to make sure that in addition to whatever the material, and it was hard to hear, so it's going to be equipment, right? That's the only thing that's going into the truck.
It's not a truck, it's a storage.
Storage unit.
It's a
Warehouse,
warehouse
warehouse.
that's 40 feet by 68 feet.
And the lighting, I mean, that sounds awful big, but the lighting for it, because our bedroom is back there.
Again, you're concerned about the land, we'll keep that in consideration.
Okay, all right. And like I said, the rodent situation is definitely needs to be addressed before anything else. And it could just be that truck, I'm not sure, that there is a truck there, a big van that, and a fence, some type of fencing. So again, I think the fence goes this way, but our property goes east and west, and there is no fencing, it's a fencing.
Okay. Anyone else? Again, most of this is information, so you could put the,
I also have,
in a name.
oh, sorry, Nancy Bringer, I live on 15 Washington. I also have a visitor listed on the front porch every day. But I was concerned about the positioning. It doesn't say where exactly it's going to be located. I'm assuming it's going to be located on that side where the truck is.
I can tell you that he has submitted the map, and if you check the map, you can see where it's going to be located.
Okay, and also the size of it. I mean, I see even the house I live in. for a storage area, it seems very, very large. I'm concerned about what all is really going to be going into there. It says outdoor furniture, but as I said, it seems like a very large, large area.
Okay. Anyone else? I think we can close this part of this. At this point, we're going to be closing the comment part of the application for Steve's property. We are not completely closing the comment. What we're going to do, because of getting some more information here, is we're going to leave it open so that the board can continue next month if we need to. So I can I have a motion on this? You want to come out?
Yeah, okay. I think that the comments that the neighbors brought were good comments. Most of the comments that I heard were related to housekeeping in terms of the existing facility, not specifically related to the warehouse, except for the lighting, which I certainly agree with is a concern that's associated with the warehouse. And the information that the applicant submitted goes along with what he told one of the people that came to the table, is the lighting is approximately 8 foot above the ground with downward lighting, and does not propose any sort of lighting or glare in terms of the backyards of any of the adjacent residential structures. The question about the condition of the fence is a housekeeping aspect. The condition of the trees and stuff is a housekeeping aspect. It's not truly related to the aspect of putting an addition or building a warehouse. It is a concern, and it's certainly something that I got the feeling that the applicant is willing to try to address with the neighbors. But I don't see it directly related to the application for the construction of this warehouse. The one person who asked about the fence, not having a fence, I guess the property goes east and west. The site plan includes the construction of a new fence, not on the property line that would go east and west, probably directly behind our house, but a fence that's in the middle of the parcel, a fence that will screen or obscure the view of any parking that takes place behind the back of the building and block any view other than what you can see in the back of the bakery portion where they have the outside deck and that. So while I understand not necessarily wanting to look into the backyard of another person's property, there are always the option of the adjacent neighbor putting up their own fence if they don't like an adjacent view. There is a fence, like I said, going in with this site plan. Again, the fence aspect in terms of blocking the view from the adjacent neighbor, I don't, again, tie that into the construction of the warehouse.
What parking are you talking about?
I'm doing that intentionally because I'm not going to allow that type of outburst during this meeting. You may laugh, but if we allow it first this time, it gets right out of hand. Again, if you have a question or a comment, when I say it's your turn, if you wish to address the board, then you can do so. Anything else?
I don't know how to address the board, so what do we do?
At this point, I will ask if there's anyone who hasn't spoken yet that wants to speak. Yes. We ask that you come up so that
Tony, Terracina. You just brought up parking. What parking are we talking about? I saw the parking was in front of the restaurant. You should be parking in the back.
So again, comments are made to me, and what you're saying is you want us to consider what type of parking, is there any other type
Right.
of, and so we'll address that issue with you. All right? Anything else?
That's it.
Anybody who hasn't spoken yet that wishes to speak? Okay, we'll go quickly for those who have spoken, if you have something else that you wish to add.
I'm concerned about the sheer size of the building. You're calling it a warehouse now. I mean, it is as big as any of the houses on that street. So I am concerned about the size, not just the lighting. And now, of course, about parking. There was no indication there would be parking behind the building. That changes our whole neighborhood if there's a parking lot back there.
Okay, so the board will take into consideration the parking issue that may come up in that park. Anything else?
I don't know how to address it, so.
Go ahead.
Forgive me. You want all of us to introduce ourselves, and I'm blind, and I don't know who you are. I don't know who the people that are speaking, and people could be asked to say their names so I know who they are. When they speak, that would be very appropriate and it would be accessible.
Okay. At this point, I'll tell you that I'm chairman of the board, Dan Henry.
I'm Francis, I've been one of the members of the
Thank you,
board.
I appreciate it.
Did you want to introduce yourself?
I haven't made any comments, but I'm Jennifer Sussman.
Board member Will Harris Brown.
Is it something that we should be discussing in the public hearing, or is it something that
I think it's something that should be brought out in the public hearing portion. This particular application, while I understand many of the comments have been brought up, this application requires no variances. This is a use that's permitted on that parcel of land. The structure, regardless of the size, fits within the requirements of the Village of Chatham zoning. So just to give you some, and the other thing which, as was stated in the very beginning of our public hearings, it would be very advantageous, not only for this public hearing, but any other public hearings that people choose to attend, that prior to the public hearing, they review the documentation that's been provided to the board. The aspect about parking would be very clear to everyone if people had seen the site plan, which is the site plan we are reviewing.
any other comments from the public?
Yes, can you tell us what the parking situation is there, being that we haven't seen anything? You just said you've seen.
Again, that information has been available in front of the village office downstairs. If you wish to look at it, that's fine. Remember, we're looking for information to come to us so that we know how we should be deciding on this application. It's
I
not-
think it
this
should
is
be
not-
provided
This is not a public information hearing. This is to give
I'm
you.
requesting that you provide information in an accessible format, and if there's anyone that could verbally address that one little question about the parking.
That information has been available and is available at the village.
I am legally blind, I cannot read signs, I do not drive, and I'm requesting a verbal, quick answer to the.
I am assured that if you come into the village board office and you ask, they will be glad to help you with that.
So no one else has to come in.
We don't have the time or whatever to be able to go through the whole application
Okay,
tonight.
gotcha.
Any other new questions or answers, input? We have a motion to table until next.
I guess I'd make a motion that we table this application,
This hearing.
this hearing, excuse me, to give the board time to review and consider comments that were made at tonight's meeting, or the comments as received in writing.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any comments from the board on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously, it will be tabled to the next month. Okay, application New York State Electric and Gas, property owners, New York State Electric and Gas, 18 Fairview Avenue, Chatham, New York. Public hearing. Is there someone here from, yes? Good evening. I do have one piece of information that I would like to add before we start, and that is the comment from the Columbia County Planning Board. We have a letter from them pursuant to provisions of New York State General Municipal Law 239-1 and 239-M. Please find the Columbia County Planning Board recommendation concerning the request of J. Hilton Miller, New York State Electric and Gas for site plan review. The proposed action is to expand and upgrade the existing Chatham Hilltop substation. The site is located at 18 Fairview Avenue in the village of Chatham. Pursuant to New York State NYSGML 239-1 and 239-M, the Columbia County Planning Board reviewed proposed action for intercommunity and community-wide considerations and shall recommend approval. Modifications of this approval of the proposed action or report that the proposed action has no significant countywide or intercommunity impact. Upon recommendation of the modification of this approval, the referring body shall not act contrary to such recommendations except for by a vote of the majority plus one of all the members thereof. The Columbia County Planning Board may make informal comments to the referring body on the proposed action with any of the recommendations made. That's the law part, etc. Here's their recommendation. Columbia County Planning Board finds that this proposal action may have no significant countywide or intercommunity impact associated with it. Therefore, the Village of Chatham Planning Board may take final action with a simple majority vote. And then there's a request that we notify them after the decision. Okay. And you input.
Yes. Just to recap, my name is Eric Thorne. I say Jay was my counterpart here last time. He couldn't make it today.
This is about opening the public hearing. That's how we do it. That was one. I was planning to use.
So just to briefly recap, Mike Seg is proposing to expand the existing substation. It's located at 18 Fairview Avenue. It sits on a total parcel of 1.16 acres, and NYSEG is proposing to expand roughly 0.05 acres of that footprint at the rear of the existing substation. So that the rear being the south side of the substation. We are proposing to add an additional fence line to enclose that expansion area that would be in kind to the existing fence that already surrounds the substation. That would be a 6-foot perimeter chain link fence that has a 1-foot outrigger on top for a total of 7 feet. The last time that we were here in front of the board, we were requested to provide a scope of work document, which summarizes and details the work being proposed, as well as providing a simplified site plan to eliminate more of the technical aspects of the project, which we provided as C-10864 simplified site plan. And then we were also requested to review the historical elements around the existing parcel, that being the location of the old iron furnace and the location of the old railroad bed. Those rough locations have been plotted on the drawing provided as project overview to provide a reference location for where those are. In summary of those locations, the old iron furnace is on the NYSEG parcel. However, it's down the slope to the south of the existing substation, which is not going to be impacted by the expansion. The old railroad bed and the old railroad foundation does not sit on the NYSEG parcel. It's on the County of Columbia parcel with tax account 66.5-2-19. And therefore, with it being off the NYSEG parcel, we do not anticipate an impact to that as well. Hopefully with those additional documents provided, we appease the request by the board. Happy to go over the simplified site plan, if that's helpful to the board. Hopefully it outlines our direct area of impact, emphasizing that NYSEG plans to expand roughly to the west about 10 feet, which is shown on the left side of that drawing, and roughly 20 feet to the south or the rear of the parcel, encompassing that total expansion area. And I should emphasize that on the back of the scope of work document, in photo 2, it shows the location of that expansion on the existing parcel. So it's going to be confined to the top flat portion of the parcel.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Some of you are just, I have a question for you. Can you tell me when the substation was originally built?
I don't have an exact year, but
Approximately?
approximately 65, 70 years ago, roughly.
65 to 70 years ago?
Yeah. Well, we'll say,
So like back in the 40s or 50s?
yes, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we didn't ask that question, and we're interested in knowing how long it's been.
And again, I don't have an exact date, but we can certainly provide that information to the board if necessary.
Do you know if it has been, or when, if it has ever been upgraded since that period of time?
I do not have that information. I do not believe so. I may ask my counterpart Manuel, who's here.
No, it has to be.
No upgrade? Okay.
And I had some other more interesting questions. Can you folks hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because I want to make sure that the questions we bring up to the applicant helps you understand the project. Okay. What was a little confusing to me was, or not confusing, but not clear, is in this nice site plan that you provided us, which was much better than we had the previous one. Okay, I couldn't really tell what was being installed within the area of expansion. I mean, I see this is the area of expansion, 10 foot on the west side, the 20 foot on the south side, which is the back side of the structure, or back side of the area. But I couldn't see what was being put in there. Now, when I read the information, it talked about a H-frame, can't read my handwriting, H-frames, something structure, sorry, a transmission structure, and two new something else. I scratched this pen this afternoon, I can't read my own handwriting. Besides the fact that I'm getting cataract surgery, so it's a little bit harder to read things now. But there was features that were being part of this.
May I help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Manuel is,
So answering the first question, the station is from 1961.
1969. Thank you.
Maybe in this drawing you can see that we are referring to the extension. So The breaker, each breaker includes a frame because we have to install BTs over the breaker, no? Well, we need to install a new breaker and we need to install the steel with the breaker. But it's necessary to have a electrical clearance surrounding the breaker.
To be able to put in a breaker, you need to have a certain amount of pivots.
Well, not just from the rest of the equipment, also to the fence. We cannot put it.
Right, you can't have the power jump from one to the other. I guess my question is, there's this here, but I was trying to relate it to this here.
Yes.
This
you can
piece
see that.
right here.
This piece here.
Yep, that's
Okay.
the breaker.
And then, the transmission structure
Yes.
is that this here?
Outside. That's gonna be outside.
It's this point as a reference, so this is the, we'll call it a utility pole, that you can sort of.
Okay,
reference it as
okay,
that.
yep, okay. And then, it said, H-frame breaker and transmission structure, and two new, there's something else here. Hold on. Two new breakers. Are they,
They're gonna go into the existing substation yard.
One is replacing, one existing, and the other one is new. There was no space to install a new one, so that's why we need to extend the fence.
so just for clarification for all of this, so in this area of expansion, there's going to be basically a H-frame structure, which is within this little box area that you showed.
Is the breaker, which is equipment, and above the steel structure,
Okay.
the frame.
And that's really the only thing that's going in here?
Yeah.
Okay, because the pole is outside of it, and it's just basically a pole.
But you have to understand that operations need area to make.
Yeah, but I understand it.
So the problem is that if they need to access, they need a space, they cannot be that the fence.
Okay.
The only difference with the pole from what's currently existing is right now it's a wooden guy wired structure. This is going to be a full self-supporting structure, so it'll have a small foundation to it.
Something correct.
Upgrade, there won't be the guy wires coming down.
The ground here, is this going to be grass, gravel?
Grab a little match the existing
So the
substation.
gravel?
And it says that someplace, it does, that's the same question. Okay.
Can you compare the heights of the old and the new transmission structure?
The pole.
I cannot, I don't know to say the exact number, but it's going to be very similar. It's going to be similar. They're not going to be. So the idea is that the pole has to be the same height. The problem is that currently we only have one breaker. One breaker means one line. And we need two breakers now, two lines going to the pole. And a good pole doesn't allow to have those two, so we are going to see.
To carry more weight or something?
Yeah.
In terms of the expansion area, and I did go to the site and view what I could from where I could be, not on your property. It did not seem to me that there was any need for any vegetation removal in order to install this. Okay, is that?
So we've reviewed that as well, and we are not anticipating needing to do a full tree clearing, full removal. We might have to do some side trimming of some branches on the trees to gain some access in there, but not a full, we're not anticipating to remove trees from the site.
Now, what do you mean by gain access? Because that's one of my next questions.
So-
My next question is the fact that when I was up there, the access road appears to run along the west side of the existing fences there that takes you into the back.
That's correct.
When this new fence is installed and comes out 10 feet and goes back, that new fence will run basically along the edge of the existing vegetation that's there.
Correct.
So my question is, how are you ever going to get back
Okay.
here?
So you have to understand that there is a pole, currently there is a pole, there is a existing pole, so that area is already clean.
Yeah, there's no issue
So
here.
that's why we are not passing any vegetation because it's already there. So to gain access from the from the side, because we are not gonna touch anything in the front side. The front side is gonna remain, as Eric said in the beginning, this fence is back 35 feet from the entrance. So, and you can see it better here. So we just need to, I mean, these branches, just leave them, but there's enough access to get to the back.
Okay.
And in terms of permanent access, this gate is remaining in place. There's a gate at the roadside, and that will be access into the substation to get to the rear of the lot from inside the fence.
So what you're saying is a gate here,
Yes.
that allows you to get into the inside,
Correct.
into the fenced in area.
Yeah, okay. How do you, if you had to get to the back, behind them, is there a gate in here to let you back out? Because, I mean, what I'm trying to, and I'm trying to think of the neighbors adjacent to this. This existing vegetation provides something of a visual breakout between, and the distance between the fence and the vegetation, and I realize that limbs hang in and out, whatever, was approximately 10 to 12 feet. I'm saying that visual, I would guess. So you end up in a case that I can understand in terms of installing a fence, you might have to move some selective limbs from the tree, but you're not planning on removing this line of vegetation.
No. The current distance between the existing fence and the trees, I would say the bottom of the tree could be like 20 feet. The new one from the new fence, as we are adding 10 feet, is going to be 10 feet. In the,
Okay, so really, if the trunks of the trees are about 20 feet, you might have to remove some limbs that might come in contact with the fence or overhang the fence, but not any wholesale removal of vegetation along that side.
but we are going to be just now to make the execution, but not for the future. They will grow and they will come in.
Okay. All right, I answered that question. Will the existing fence that is currently here be removed?
Yes.
Okay, that is being removed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you've answered my other question in terms of access. So you're still going to be able to access into here. And if you, so I can access into here. If you had to get to this pole or anything else back here, other than the pole, is there anything else back here you would have to have access to?
There's no other infrastructure besides the pole that's there.
Okay. And I guess suppose if in the future you found yourself having to get to the pole, you'd have to put a gate in one of the...
It's just the same as we have now. There are still at least more than 10 feet here. So we can.
No, because if you come alongside here, then you're taking my vegetation, taking the vegetation out. That to me is a legitimate concern if I lived in that neighborhood. That the vegetation, even though it's on your property, I'm not denying that, even though it's there, I don't want to see that removed.
But we are not removing it.
Okay, but maybe I misunderstood you. If you don't have a point of access to the back here,
If you have to get a truck,
Let me ask you
How-
something.
how do you drive it up?
How far is
This
from
space.
this fence to where the vegetation is?
There is a space, you can see here. There is plenty of space here.
yes, and that's the 10-foot within the fence.
No, there's more than 10 feet. There's more than that.
I disagree with you.
It doesn't look like there's a whole lot more to
No,
do.
the trunks are like here, so we are talking about at least 20 feet.
Right, but the point then you go back to what I'm concerned about. If you go 20 feet, you're removing another 10 foot of vegetation.
Yeah, it's 6 feet for a house.
So, you know, my question is, why not put a gate in here so that that vegetation can remain there? And then if you ever, or at least understand that in the future, if you find you need access to the back here, you're going to have to come back to the planning board to determine how you're going to get that access, because I, at least for one, would not support the removal of vegetation. Even if you tell me that the trunks are 20 feet away, if you strip all the tree limbs and everything off the fence side of those trees, it will make a difference to the adjacent neighbors. and the neighborhood in general. And so that's my concern. Yes, I understand. I mean, you own basically 30 feet from the existing fence to the property line, based on what I scaled.
Yes, right.
Okay. You end up in a case that the 10-foot new fence can be put in there basically where the area is already cleared, with the exception of a few overhanging limbs which may have to come off, either to install a fence or whatever. Any more removal than that it makes a big difference. All I'm saying is, I look at this application from the point of view that you're going to put the fence 10 feet more to the west. Moving 10 feet to the west will require some limited removal of limbs, no trees, limited removal of limbs. Only what's necessary to put in the fence.
No, but I think there's a misunderstanding. No, we are gonna remove a couple of limbs, okay, but just for the temporary access, including the fence. We are not gonna touch the trunks today or in the future. We have the commitment not to touch those trees. There is space. I can guarantee that there is space. We just spoke with a contractor this morning, and he said there is enough space to access to the back.
And
With the extension of the fence.
And I would disagree with you. If you can give the board permission to go up and measure the site, I would be happy to do that. But I can comfortably assure you that the distance from the existing fence to where the vegetation starts to overhang and everything is about 10 to 12 feet from where where the existing fence is. When the new fence is put in order to get a vehicle in along the side of that fence, you will have to remove a considerable amount of vegetation in order to make it so that a vehicle can get back in along the side. That to me is a change that I'm not.
So, it sounds like what we need is actual concrete measurements taken, because you're arguing with what you saw with your eyes, and he has a contractor that says, I mean, we need measurements. So whether we do a site visit and take measurements, or they provide a drawing with measurements, then, I mean, we're just arguing around a circle right now. We should ask for specific measurements and perhaps an in-person site visit.
I mean, other than that, the information you provided to us seems understandable in terms of what's going on. It is, the key issue to me was how are you going to access the area in the back without significantly removing vegetation along the side of that west property.
And my feeling is, if you want to get back to this pole, it may not be a small truck.
Right.
It's going to be one of the big boom trucks.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that we can review with our team and certainly scale that off.
And if there's enough space, fine, another possible answer is, as he's saying, it's just a gate here so that you get through the gate.
Right. Yeah, we can certainly look into that and review with the team.
Okay, anything else?
That was my only concern.
Well,
Bill.
I have a listing of several people here, and I'm assuming that the ones who are from Fairfield Island are the ones who want to speak on this issue. The first one is it Allison?
Yes. Hi. Do you mind if I read off my phone?
That's great.
Okay. I'm Allison, I do live on Fairview Ave. My concerns regarding the expansion of the substation, mostly centered around the impacts of the neighbors that live there. The first issue I'd like to address is, we really brought this up, is the traffic and access, specifically construction vehicles and maintenance trucks causing congestion and noise. It's a very small dead-end road, and it's a very steep incline. Next is the potential for noise pollution. Sort of a question, but substations can generate a constant low-frequency hum, occasional loud sounds from switching operations. So my question is whether or not the expansion will generate any noise pollution. There is also an additional concern about EMFs for the surrounding neighbors.
What did you say?
The impact of EMFs, of specifically across from Mark's house is their beautiful view. I know many of us use that path that actually goes down to the blast furnace as a walk. We walk our dogs there, get out in nature. So a few of my questions are, how tall will the fence be? And how much will the fence block or obstruct the view? And will it eliminate the access of the path that leads down to the blast furnace? That many of us will have.
So my question is, that's digitized?
I just wrote the notes, it's
That's
just
me.
my note.
I know.
Yes, yes.
So is it possible for you to email it?
Absolutely.
So we just put that as part of the record?
Yeah, absolutely. If you just give me an email address, I can send it to.
They will.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Was that one made?
I think I got most of them.
So that takes care of Aaron. Mark? Think of it.
Mark Lawrenceburg. My concern is the same as Francis, only on the opposite side. My lawn abuts Dysick's lawn. The east side of the fence has a gate. There's a good-sized maple tree there, as you probably saw when you were up there. And if they pinch themselves off on the west side, they're going to wind up driving trucks across the east side and get around the tree. This has happened in the past, where large trucks have just driven across my lawn and left, pretty serious ruts. They've given up, years ago they gave up mowing or doing anything up there, which I've been doing, which I don't care if I do, but when they drove the trucks back there, like I said, it was a long time ago, they needed to get into that east gate. For some reason, they went across my lawn, said they'd, come back and fix it up, which never happened. So I'm assuming that if something happens in the back there, and they've not left enough room on the west side, they'll have to come in from the east side, which being a public utility, they have to do, but I think, like I said, if there's not enough room on the west side, the only way in there is from the east side, which means driving across the lawn.
So if I'm hearing you correct, what I'm hearing is that you have a concern about access to the back.
Basically what Francis said,
And
yes.
Francis is on one side, you're worried about maybe they have to come in on the other side as well.
If you can't get in from the west side, the only way to get in is a wide, it's a big wide lawn. Theirs is, I don't know, what, 20 feet on one side, which I've got on the sheet here. But to get around that tree, there's no way they can drive in on their own property from that side. So that would be a concern, is that they leave the building.
Okay, any questions from the board?
I think this gentleman makes a valid point. The east side of the property line does not allow any vehicles to come in from that side because the property line is too close to the existing fence. So that's why the access to the back is so crucial in terms of, for any future reason, we would have to get back in there. Now, I'll admit, and be very honest with it, is that the amount of property between the new fence and the property line is approximately 30 feet. I value that vegetation that's there. But I also understand the owner's aspect that they need to get access and they can't come from the east side. They might have to come from the west side. So you need to go back and clarify, as Dan said, the size of the vehicle, the frequency that you might have to go back there, and what would have to be done or not done in terms of the fact of that access. Or how you can go about getting access without hindering the vegetation.
Frequency, size of vehicle,
In the vegetation.
Access.
Access if you have the
And you have measurements of the access path.
Jay?
Jay Ripple, and I live in Fairview, and that's my theory that you're concerned about it. But I'm here tonight because I've lived in the house since '91, and I think There's Hyman had some upgrades in there. I'm glad to see NICEAG is doing it and keeping us involved, and the guys that are up there have certainly got pretty good information what they plan to do. I don't see it affecting my side of the property in any way. Do have some questions about will the noise level increase with new equipment that's being put in there? Because right now it's pretty quiet. There's, every once in a while we hear a hum or something will pop, and we hear that. But noise elevation is going to increase. Like I said, we lived there since '91. In the past few years, we've had more power outages and blackouts than we had in the previous 30 years. Just talking with some of the workmen that have been up there at different times, they've responded. They told me due to people putting in mini splits and electric car chargers and all the new novelty things, it seems to be putting more of a drain on what we have up there, and that's what's causing the increased blackouts. So we do need, and I'm glad they're updating, because we need to do that, and I fully support it. Concerns are, will there be any more noise? Property line issues, I've always worked really good with the guys who've been up there. They're willing to talk to me and work with me. I helped them find the pins that I had from a more recent survey than what they had information on, and so they were able to do their survey of what I was able to give them. And I think it made things a lot clearer for them. And if you want to go and look at things from my side, I'll show you exactly where the property line is. It's not a straight property line down through that.
No, it's not. It's in the same shape.
Yeah.
It's on this.
I surveyed that after I put my pool in and found out exactly where the property. Now, I was shocked because I was, there's that tree line over there.
If I dare to say what you're saying is that, one, you're glad that they're updating because some of the equipment up there is probably older than we want. Two, there's a higher draw of power, something because of the way things are going,
New toys, we gotta have.
20 years ago, they said you're going to have electric cars to be charged, they laughed at you, right, because they don't have such a thing, but now everybody's got electric cars. And so the main concern that you are concerned with negatively is the possible noise. And I'm assuming, which happens to assume, but I'm guessing that there'll probably be a huge noise increase for some of the construction because of the construction noise, but that will be a very temporary type situation.
Correct, yep. What our anticipated construction timeline.
And like if somebody fixed, blacktop their driveway, we're going to noise increase. But it's just one day effect. Yours is probably more than a 1 day.
Yeah, a number of months.
What about from the new equipment that's going to add any noise? Is that correct?
The equipment that's being put in.
Every day, once it's up, once it's installed and running, what kind of noise can be expected, and do you have information on that?
I don't have specific information on that. It'd be, with the limited amount of infrastructure that is going in, it's not like there's a new transformer going in, which is, your largest noise impact typically. But the much smaller equipment, I think it would be, almost, there might be a slight increase, but pretty negligible, I would imagine. I don't know if Ben Watt can speak more to the technical aspects of the noise.
It's not very, we do like seconds, no, it's a crew and they are made a hole for the pole, and the same crew is gonna make a hole for the fence, and they will leave. That's gonna be the most noise, no, there's a hole for the fence, the post, and a hole for the, and it's already a week, 2 weeks from now.
Right, in terms of like the breaker itself.
It's gonna be 1 week, about 1 week, no more than 2 weeks. The breaker is gonna be, it's gonna be excavation.
No, but once it's up and, once it's installed and running, just on your...
We don't have enough breakers.
Okay, anything else, Jay?
No. I'm getting high side, but I don't ask a question.
That goes through the list of the people that I see from Fairview Avenue. And I'm ask if there's anybody else that wants to speak. Come on down.
We all know that we need to, electricity and all that.
Just a name, just so.
Oh, it's not. Hi. But are there other ways, rather than making it larger and bigger and taller and more noisy? Are there other ways? For example, Manans, you guys did a different type of job by providing more electricity. And forgive my vernacular, I'm just using the simple what I know. So you provided more electricity, but you didn't expand. And I don't know if it's because you did new wires or what you did, but I didn't have enough time because we didn't get notification as is required. Nobody on the hill, except I think for one person, maybe two, got notification. So we couldn't do any homework. I had no clue. I knew on Friday from my neighbor, what's her name? Christy or something, that this was going to go on. This is her letter, which I'll submit. And also with that goes the petition. It's not that we wanted to stop, per se. This is one for each person. It's more that there are other ways of doing it that doesn't affect the values of houses, for example, because I'm a realtor. And so I know about what people say, and they're afraid. Even if it's not the truth, even if it doesn't cause cancer, people are afraid that it does. And they won't buy certain houses because of that. You know. So I'm just wondering if there is another way that you could provide the same service without having it affect, the way it looks and the way it sounds and the values of properties and that. Because it's already ugly enough.
Okay.
So that's what I have.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? We should have a report of another. I have here a stack of the letters that have been submitted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have terrible handwriting. My name is Dina Beard, I'm a new resident.
You did put your address, that's right.
Okay, 9 Fairview Avenue. So, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong spot. So I did Gaussian readings before, and I bought the house in August, and it was in like an area of concern. Electromagnetic fields, like Natalia said, are nobody really knows or can measure carcinogenic effects, but they are linked to childhood leukemia. It can interfere with pacemakers. They definitely are concerned for people who want to purchase property in that area. So I'm trying to figure out if there's an opportunity for the village of Chatham to figure out if there's a way to mitigate the effects of EMFs, of sparks. I was evacuated many times in my life. I fled from California, basically. And those were from spaces where the electricity company basically said it was completely safe. There was no problem. And it was one spark. That's all it took. One spark totally burns everything down. So I was trying to figure out, is there like a barrier that we can put up to mitigate those effects? Is there a way that we can use this as an opportunity to ask for more evergreen trees, more mitigation of the eyesore of it? Is there a way we can, maintain some sort of Chatham control over this site and make sure that it's properly maintained and updated? I agree with maintenance and updating of this property in the substation. I think that's necessary. The fact that it hasn't been maintained since the 40s is concerning. So that's it.
Okay.
Well, what I want to say in regards to those things is that we are installing new equipment, more isolated, new conductors, more isolated, which reduce the economic fees. So the idea is that there is a back.
So you're saying that new equipment's being installed with better insulation, so it should
There's no
help mitigate some of this problem?
Can I follow up? Can I ask
Sure.
for professional, is there a way to get readings? Professional readings, not from my stupid non-engineer
there a possibility of getting, a way of getting professional readings?
I am not technical enough to answer that question, but I can certainly bring it back to the operations folks that would probably be the ones to answer that.
Okay. Any other comments? Again, as I started to say,
I would just like to second that, I would like to see scientific studies as up to date as to what the health ramifications are, because we don't know, and I'd like to see something rather than to think it is.
as I started to say, there is the stack of information, that is the stuff that we've gotten on this application since the notification has gone out. Obviously, I don't expect board members to read all of this tonight. So that's why I'm going to ask for a motion to table it to next month, so that they have a chance to read this. It will also be available if anyone wishes to see it downstairs.
Mr. Chairman, just one question, if I could. Why were we not notified? We didn't receive a notification.
I can't tell you.
For the abutters. I was explaining
I can tell you that notification went out to, as the law requires, to the listed property owners.
They didn't, honestly.
Now, if it,
Nobody received them, nobody, except for.
I'm not going to get into it. As I can tell you, is the notification went out. I can't tell you that you actually received it. We have a copy of the fact that the post office, the United States Postal Service said that they got it delivered.
Who's on that list? Not many.
Now, that list is required to go to the abutters of the property.
I know.
So if it didn't happen, one of two things can possibly happen. One is that the person thinks they're an abutter but isn't listed as one. Two, if the property changed hands and hasn't been properly done, the notification went to the old owner and not to the new one. Any other? I'm back asking for.
I just want to resolve something because it's illegal. Who here thinks they should have gotten a notice and says they didn't get a notice?
Say again, I'm so sorry.
I said I'm trying to, just as a legal question, who here believes they should have gotten a notice but didn't?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Number 6 and number 4, absolutely.
Right, what number?
Number 6, Fairview Avenue, and number 4, Fairview Avenue, and,
Who are the current resident? Who's the current resident at number 6?
number 6 is my mommy.
Who?
It's my mommy.
What's her name? Oh, yeah, I want your names. What's the name on it?
Maria Diamond. And she owns both houses,
That's on 6.
and number 4 as well.
And number 4. Okay.
Yeah, and they're new. And when I got this petition signed, I always ask people, did you get it?
Okay. And who else?
Nine Fairview. I'm sure my notice is sent to Grim Cloud, who is a private owner.
Okay, sent to prior owner.
Yeah.
Now, the other reason I'm asking to table this.
I just need to know who, so we can make sure that we have all the notices and verify.
I
The McKean Cast House,
I'm sorry?
the McKean Cast House was sent a notice.
They don't abut them.
That's number 3.
What is the name on that?
McKean.
McCain Theater owns the house.
Yeah, McKean Theater's.
Oh,
his
McCain.
house.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
other,
they did get one, but I'm not quite sure how they're in the middle of all those other houses to get.
the other reason, if I might, that I'm asking to table this until next month, is that way, if you did not get notification, you still have a chance.
Is there another one?
Can you just finish?
Yeah.
Let me, 2 Fairview, Terry Buck.
What is the name of the two?
Terry Buck, you see that?
Number 8 did not get it either.
Who's the number 8?
Chris.
Terry.
At this point, we're just considering.
I need to know this. I do need to know this. We want to check everyone who claims it against all the notices so we can determine for certain if we have the receipts for it, or if there's an issue.
Carrie Christ.
Carrie?
Yes, Carrie Christ. 5 Fairview Avenue. She did not receive one.
Number 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9.
And 4.
Number 6 and 4, Marie Dameron. Number 9, it was sent to the, we know it was sent to the prior person of the record on the tax things. Number 3, McCaden did get one. Number 2, Terry Buck. Number 5, Carrie Chris. Huh? 5. Okay. So we'll check, we have receipts, what the issues were, if they did or didn't, and if not, we'll resolve it. And that's one of the reasons we are going to carry this, well, for a lot of reasons, there's a lot of issues here, but carry this forward. Anybody need, if there was actually no notice, make sure that it is issued for the next month. And the public hearings. I mean, anyone's here is obviously here, so that if there's anybody who wasn't aware of this, we're making sure they do. That's why we just want to know exactly if there are any procedural things that may have gone awry, or we can just verify what did and didn't happen.
So, you can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to table the public hearing until the October meeting to allow enough time to notify anybody that was missed.
And for us to have time to be able to...
And for us to have time to review all of the letters that have been submitted.
Can I just?
Do you have a second? A second. Do you have a second? Do we have any discussion on this motion?
The people that are to be notified are to be those people that are notified according to what the zoning says in terms of notification. The people that are outside of that, the zoning does not require the applicant to notify them. I want to make the people aware of that. The zoning clarifies who is to be notified in terms of a public hearing. Anybody outside of that area does not get that type of notification.
That's one of the reasons why our lawyer is taking care of it. Any other discussion? If no other discussion, all those in favor of tabling, say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. We can table the next one.
So, one clarification, will we get a list of comments responses for the next item? Thank you. Just want to make sure we cover all the bases.
At this point, we still have a meeting going on here. And I would ask that we look at that later. We have old business, which is the application of T. Cohen. Obviously, that cannot be acted upon due to the public hearing having been done. So I ask for a motion to table that. All right. We have a second. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Passes unanimously. Likewise, we have an application from New York State Electric and Gas. Same situation.
Motion to table.
Motion to table. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. New business. None. Opinion of the clerk, we mentioned approval of the minutes of August 28th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 28th meeting.
Motion made to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Next planning board meeting is October 27th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Meeting is adjourned.